so plain and precious. Finally, the Book of Mormon is the keystone of
Emmanuel.
just as the arch crumbles if the keystone is removed, so does all the church fall with the truthfulness of the Book of Mormon. The enemies of the church understand this clearly.
Travis, my good soul. We'll hold off on comment review time of all the Mormons who pretend to be Christian and yet spew their hate online in their comments and expose how ignorant they are and unintelligent and have lost their second estate. So they will not be exalted. So we'll have the official removal from the Celestial Kingdom ceremony hopefully after this Jasmine reply video. So I know you're all excited. So Jasmine and Carly, the only two women on the face of the earth who actually study. Both at the same time, because you know they're in sync. The only two women on the face of the earth who study. It's in connection with the phases of the moon. The only intelligent women on the face of the earth. Because, yeah, for our excommunication ceremony, we have Marielle, who was given a second chance, and she blew it. And I think she just parroted the exact same comment that she did before. It's just, oh my God, there is like night and day difference between a woman who studies and a woman who don't. Yeah, men too. We got a bunch of men too. So, yeah. And it's sad. Beautiful women who open their mouth and reveal that they're God. Who told you that? Why are you memorizing what they told you to say? You know, and poor Jasmine, you know, apparently her mom's blood of the blonde from the 80s has crept into her DNA. She thinks that she is a blonde herself. No, Jasmine. Nope. The blonde died with the 80s. Then the 90s came and women emerged as Wonder Women. Awesome movies. Oh my God. When she comes out of the trench, oh, tears. Oh my God. Awesome. And then the second one, she's a little girl. So cute. So cute. Anyway. So Jasmine and Carly were both talking about indirectly about the coming forth of the Book of Mormon. And since I'm the only man who has done research, and there's a few men who are now doing research finally, but I'm sure it's not monkey see, monkey do. a little hard to do that. I'm the one who made the great grand discovery that all critics are, oh, we can't believe that. No, that ruins our whole plot to destroy the church and expose them. No, this one does too. And Mormons don't want to like it either. It's amazing what happens when you use science. Conjunction junction, what's your function? And so I've been telling you for years now that 1826, that's the founding of the Church of Christ of Joseph Smith with the Book of Mormon. No, 9/11, 1826. Who did the research? I did the research. Who didn't do the research? You didn't do the research. You can't tell me I'm wrong just because you didn't do the research. Got a whole bunch of others who are testifying to that very fact. And so as a result, there's been a lot of bombshell discoveries with this one major bombshell. There's like repercussion bombshell events that trigger from this one main one, similar to when I deciphered Paleo-Hebrew. Whole megaplex of different bombshells going off after having deciphered Paleo-Hebrew script. And so this is what happens. I plant a seed and it's a whole earth vineyard, if not multiple earth's vineyards. And so I've got projects galore in volumes of books that I'm never going to get to. But nonetheless, let's go over the history again, and then we'll reveal the bombshell that I've already exposed in the picture for the thumbnail for this video. Just in case you're bored. You already know all this information, or you're a denialist. And so, yeah, if you clicked on this video, you've already seen the thumbnail picture. You already know the subject matter. You've now got your answer. Why did you click on it if you aren't going to be interested in the content of the video? Is that part of that Jesus Christ-like behavior of Mormonism? And so, first, let's go over Jasmine's comment. Hey, Travis, we don't mean to drive you crazy. That's Britney Spears' job. I was thinking about that song. I was going to put that in the thing, and I changed my mind. We're on the same. People who study think alike. He is already compiling the links you sent, James is, because I sent them primary source documents. And among the documents was the Mormonism Unveiled that was published in 1834. A person investigating the Book of Mormon emergence, brand new on the scene, came across some people in a town where Solomon Spaulding used to live, and finds out that the town is like, yeah, this Book of Mormon, it was stolen by Solomon Spaulding. And so they are also tying it to Sidney Rigdon as the potential author for this. And with the Book of Mormon already published, nothing further was done with this. And Brigham Young and Heber C. Kimball were already joining the church and setting in motion its destruction and overthrow. And also I sent her William Morgan's supposed book. It wasn't. It was the Batavian Press who published it under William Morgan's name to try to make up the money that they lost investing in him to write the actual book that the documents went missing. And so now we need to go over the history of all this and why those primary source documents, among some other stuff that I gave them. It is important to do scientific-based research. Otherwise, you're going to have a spiritual witness feeling about things that make you sound stupid. Right, Franny? We're getting to her next, or whenever. It's almost 2 o'clock. It's time for the 2 o'clock stats collection. So we're going to be going overtime. It's surprising it's 2 o'clock already. I do videos and time flies and I can't do anything else with my life. And so we start with Joseph Smith Sr. in Vermont. That's what I did. I started on the Carthage assassination of Joseph Smith. And as I got into it, went, oh crap. I got to go back to the beginning. I got to see a bigger picture here. And so that's what I went. I went back to the beginning with Vicini. And Princess Bride. And learned that he was a Congregationalist with his family. So is that why Junior doesn't say that Senior was a part of any religion? And claims that his mother pursued Presbyterian when his mother's own autobiography says, I'll refer you to my son's statement on this. I'm not going to talk about it. There are some things going on that critics are not picking up on. You know, like Oliver Cowdery's little pamphlet defense, in which he's concerned and horrified that Joseph Smith changed the name of the church to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And all critics miss it. Oh my God, guys. You're more concerned with Oliver Cowdery saying there weren't no plates and never had plates. Oh my God. So anyway, you drive me crazy, Mormons and ex-Mos. Not Jasmine, though. She's entertaining. She thinks she's insecure, thinking she's a blonde. No, Jasmine. Just keep being you. You're perfect just the way you are. I'm expecting to get, and we're going to put that picture before I forget. Jasmine sent me an awesome picture of her. It's her. It's really her. It's not an AI. It's her. The angel Jasmine. Okay. So the angels, they appear to Joseph Smith. Oh, yeah. No, the Brighamite Danites, they know what they're talking about. They wouldn't lie to us. And so, as Congregationalists, there are certain distinct differences about the religion. Kind of important to know those. As he then got involved with a Nathaniel Woods in the New Israelites, with Jewish Kabbalah and all things pertaining to there. He never became a Mormon, or a member. He never became a member because a member is supposed to be polygamist. And it's clear, having rewritten 116 pages, that he is completely against Nathaniel Wood's polygamy. He was only interested in the organization and attended their meetings as often as occasion would permit. To learn Jewish Kabbalah. And yeah, Justice Winchell joined the organization. He was a bit of a con man involving divination. And so, yeah, Joseph Smith Sr. became a master rodsman, but it was only for the purpose of playing kids' games for family home evening. It was on Friday evenings back in those days. Yes, there's a lot of Mormonisms that Jasmine, if she's listening, may not catch on to. And so just bear with me, Jasmine. Just bear with me. And so he was also a Freemason of the York Rites. People these days, they don't do their study either. And they just lump them all together, as the reporter did after 9/11/1826, which caused the fear in the colonists to burn down the temples of all the Freemasons. And yet there was a distinct difference between the organizations. And there were rules and guidelines that were far more strict than after 9/11/1826. And so you can see Joseph Smith Sr.'s influence in the rewritten 116 pages, especially, with the York Rites Freemasonry and Jewish Kabbalah. The Book of Mormon, after all, is in the learning of the Jews. And so Solomon's Temple? Interesting. Because that Jerusalem temple wasn't technically Solomon's, because Solomon didn't actually exist. If you're not gonna watch my channel, don't assume you know I'm wrong. Because who studies? I study. Do you study? No. Why then would you make a comment? And as a result, he eventually, we all know, moved to Palmyra. And after becoming a master mason of the York Rite Lodge in Canandaigua, New York, May 18th, or May 4th. I think it was May 4th, 1818. I think that was. I have to check. It was 1818. He became a master mason in May. And so he got his own lodge to rule and reign over. And along comes William Morgan. He moves to Western New York, gets a home in Batavia, New York, and makes arrangements with David Miller of the Batavian Press to front him the money so that he can spend full time working on the book. Now, because of the serious nature of the book, he does not want to be working on it with his family, so that his family would get extorted and threatened and murdered and all that. He wants to protect his family. And also keep a distance away from the press so that the press would be able to publish it when he finishes it. And the technique that was used back in those days was they didn't have computers and Amazon so that they can go to the KDP and publish their books for free online. And then only give you 2 pennies royalty per sale. Nope, back in those days, there were some different ways of doing things. It was helpful for many to dictate to a scribe. And it would be on parchment paper with quill dipped ink. And then it was required to take those manuscript pages and transfer them to copper plates to put in the wording, and it had to be backwards for the print press, which the print press would then take over from there and put it on their little print press machine. And I do the printing of the book for the person. And it was around $2,000 for a first run edition of the book with a certain number of copies to be sold in stores or trading posts. And or technically at the print press. That was the bookstore back in those days. And so he needed to find a safe place to hide out and work on the book without people knowing what's going on, and be able to finish it and get it published so that he can warn America of the threat that's coming in the latter days, which they did a dry run for in 1838. An exact same pattern match to what they were plotting in the future. Should I give you the date of when that plot was intended to be carried out? 2020? And well, actually 2016 is when it started, and then 2020 was the other part that patterns the... We're not talking about that. We're talking about the book. And so, yes, he goes to Canandaigua, New York, to a fellow York Rite Freemason who allows him to stay there in the lodge to work on it during the daytime, and then there's the tavern where he can get a place to live, to reside during the night. And it was a result of him being in that tavern and getting drunk that loose lips sink ships. Awesome song. And as it was required, he needed somebody to help him transcribe the pages. And so, what do you know? And there's Junior. He gets to learn how to write. Because back in those days, you could not be a member of a lodge of a family member. If a family member is already there, you can't be a member. You can attend their meetings as often as occasion would permit. But Hiram was the one who got to go to Palmyra to be a member of that York Rite Lodge. And so Joseph was out of luck. He would be required to get the car and be able to travel out of the district into another district where there's a York Rite Lodge in order to become a member of the York Rite Lodge. They didn't have cars, did they? See, Palmyra was walking distance for Hiram, but Daddy gets the horse and carriage. Dad, I got a date. I need the horse and carriage tonight. Did you clean your room? Dad! And so, yes, historical context is kind of important when you're doing research. You don't want to write a book about tennis shoes among the Nephites. And so, yeah, you've got Junior, who's able to take over the job of transcribing for William Morgan, and Senior, who's able to pretend like nothing's going on as he's the Master Mason and tends to the duties of the temple in regards to the meetings and other stuff with the other members that are there. And so it was a pretty good situation, except that William Morgan got drunk and spilled the beans, and certain bad people happened to be in the tavern to find out about it, or heard it from people who were in the tavern, that there was a threat to America that was being written about to be published and exposed of what that threat was going to be. And so, yeah, the whole Confederacy and the assassination of Lincoln was part of this group, as we were warned in America by other people as well. But the actual plan for the latter days was William Morgan, who knew of that. And so, on 9/11, 1826, the hooligans falsely arrested William Morgan. And they're in the Canandaigua. And back in those days, if you got arrested, you aren't able to get out, and you go to debtor's prison, and yeah, he's not going to be able to write the book. This was this death threat with a threat to remain silent. But David Miller had come all the way out from Batavia with his horse and carriage, the family car, company car, and paid off the debt. But then he was arrested again. And so, Joseph Smith Sr., as the Master Mason, is responsible for a fellow brother in the lodge. He is under his care, his responsibility. He needs to protect him. And so they sent him up to Canada. And then there was an incident at the one fort by Niagara. And apparently Thomas Monroe was going to tattletale and expose what was going on. And he had to die. We don't really know what happened. We just know that Thomas Monroe's body was found in the waters with William Morgan's clothes, as the wife of Thomas Monroe made the identification of the body and said, "Why is he wearing somebody else's clothes?" And so, yeah, as much as it's sad, this was trying to protect William Morgan's life. People were trying to murder him and anybody else affiliated with him and the book. They wanted the book to destroy it. If you can't understand that, go over and read again sections 3 and sections 10 of the Doctrine and Covenants. Joseph Smith Sr. is very serious about his responsibilities to make sure this book gets published. And it didn't get finished. And so clearly he knew of Sidney Rigdon, as I did in the video this morning again for you, and made sure that the manuscript pages got far away from the incident there in western New York. And so Sidney Rigdon's living out in Ohio. Perfect. far enough away that it should be safe out there. And it was. It wasn't until 1834, when Mormonism Unveiled was published, that actually made the connection. And so, yes, even Sidney Rigdon needed a scribe to assist him with the work. So enter Oliver Cowdery, who was doing that job. And so the book is now being taken care of. But the Batavian Press lost a lot of money on this. And they needed to make some money back. And so the Freemasonry Unveiled, Mormonism Unveiled. Yeah, Mormonism Unveiled. Oh, that's, no. Just so many problems today. It's just one of those days. Come on. You know, when the church attacks you, you know you're onto something big that they don't want you to know about. Not me. I already know about it. And they know. They've been doing the William Morgan threat, Joseph Smith, you know, that's why he kept going to jail, was because of these same group of people. That's what they do. And the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is doing the exact same pattern match. Pattern of practice. And I don't know. I don't know why they haven't gone to the extreme of murdering me like they wanted to do to William Morgan and Joseph Smith. They've tried to assassinate me multiple times, but they just can't do it. The exact same practice. Dear God. Do I have to unhook from the internet? Is that what's gonna... Are you kidding me? Oh my God. Oh my God. You know, you leave the church because they kicked you out, but they won't leave you alone. They just won't do it. They cannot be good. And all these Mormons are weaponized to attack and hate you. Right? Franny and Mariel and many others. But anyway, this book, which I'm waiting to find out the actual title of because I don't memorize. It included the 3 initiatory ranks in all Freemasonry. The becoming a member, and the second one, and then the Master Mason level. It's not the highest level, in case you didn't know. Seriously? No, I am not shredding. Oh my God. I'm being hacked They're using my security system. 2 files selected, which is the William Morgan file, or Morgan's Freemasonry. Oh my God. We're not shredding this. Oh my God. Hacked in real time on this video through my own security system. They are hacking my security system to try to hurt me. Oh my God. Screw Ecuador. We got live hostage taking right here in Salt Lake City, Utah. Oh my God. But it then also includes the duties and responsibilities of a Master Mason. That's why it leads up to the rank of Master Mason and then explains the duties and responsibilities. And so David Miller was only a member. The whole Master Mason stuff, yeah, he was unable to do it. And, okay. Oh, okay. It's Morgan's Freemasonry, Exposed and Explained. Showing the origin, history, and nature of Masonry, its effects on the government and the Christian religion, and containing a key to all the degrees of Freemasonry. No, just the first 3. And so, yeah, they're kind of puffing up the title to get sales. And it's by Captain William Morgan, as they claim. No, he had to flee. He couldn't finish the book. This is not the book. He wasn't working on this. But this is why they only did the 3 of Master Mason and then explained the duties and responsibilities of a Master Mason. We then are supposed to assume that he didn't get to finish the other degrees, but there's a difference between Scottish rites and York rites. But if you're a regular person, you don't know this. And so, again, who was Joseph Smith Sr.? What rank was he? Yeah, Master Mason. This book was dictated to David Miller after 9/11/1826. So William Morgan did not dictate and explain this to David Miller. Somebody else did, who was at least a Master Mason. Here it is, the bombshell. Did you get it already? Yep. This was dictated to David Miller by Joseph Smith Sr. This was the cover. Sr. had David Miller make the book. It was already known that he had fronted the money and that had come and bailed Morgan out of jail and helped him flee the country. That part was already public knowledge. And so Sr., still unknown, had David Miller make this book to lead people to believe that this was what was unfinished. But those who go to their several meetings as often as occasion would permit would already know all of this stuff. Maybe not necessarily the duties and responsibilities of a Freemason, but at least you could go and see the ceremonial approvals and of the different ranks. And so, yeah, David Miller would have known the other ranks as well, would have known the difference between Scottish rites and York rites. And so it was purposely unfinished to lead people to believe that this was his manuscript. However, people still did a scorched earth search investigation to find the actual manuscript, because nobody was actually buying this who was in the know. And so, yeah, the actual manuscript is not this. So this is the cover story that was used by Joseph Smith Sr. as the actual manuscript went to Sidney Rigdon using Solomon Spaulding's manuscript found. And this one was put in its place. And it had to be dictated by Joseph Smith Sr. so that David Miller would have enough information to put in here to get it published. And there would be sufficient number of Freemasons who would say, oh, yeah, well, that's, yeah, we really don't, there's nothing, I don't know. And so, yeah, they really didn't make their money back with the publication of this book. But Heber C. Kimball bought a copy. I don't know why. He said he became a Royal Archmason. He already knows all this stuff. He doesn't need the book. Why would he get the book? And so, yeah, this book is by Joseph Smith Sr. Ta-da! The bombshell. Used to cover up what would become the Book of Mormon. Not another testament of Jesus. That was the enemy. Heber C. Kimball. Alrighty. That's it. And so you're going to have your Mormon who denies, and you're going to have your critics who say, prove it! Sidney Rigdon is the major author of the Book of Mormon. What does the Book of Mormon talk about? Sacred combinations. And the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints as the great and abominable church. Exact pattern match. In precise detail, down to the name of the leader in the latter days. That's outside of the realm. There's no way they would have known back then that Lucifer would actually be leading the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. No way. That blows my mind. That Senior actually put that in the Book of Mormon from Isaiah. And yeah, it's the 1769 King James Version of the Bible, errors and all. And yet he put it in. That was in the Latin Vulgate first. It was not in the biblical Hebrew text. And so for him to put it in there when he knew that it's not in the biblical Hebrew text demonstrates, dear God, he is a prophet. All bowed to Smith Sr. He is awesome. And he is an American hero. He saved America in 1826. And it was him who organized and orchestrated the plans to have Sidney Rigdon finish the book, to have David Miller do that book, as Senior had to dictate it to him, and help free William Morgan from the country, taking him to Canada, but then he decided not to stay in Canada, and then instead went to the East Coast, boarded a ship, it sank. He was rescued by fishermen, taken to the islands, and then one day while he was fishing, it sank, rescued by people from Honduras, and then went and became a banana plantation farmer down in Honduras with his new family as a cover. He had to protect his wife and kids, and so he had to give them up in order to save their lives. And Smith Sr. and Jr. and technically Hiram, but Hiram was kept out of the loop for the most part. But Hiram was the one who went to Dartmouth and was a member Mason in Palmyra, and that's why he was put in as the first or second under Joseph, and then became patriarch after Senior died. As Sidney Rigdon also was the first counselor the whole time, because Sidney Rigdon was involved in the whole thing. And that's, if you pay attention, that's why the people who knew were at the top of the leadership, is to maintain the narrative. And so all of this other stuff with Martin Harris and the Whitmers, they knew nothing. And so when you hear them, you got to take that into consideration, that they knew nothing of what was actually going on. The only people who knew what was actually going on was Sidney Rigdon, Joseph Smith Sr., Joseph Smith Jr., and Oliver Cowdery. And his defense reveals a lot. And critics don't see it. So, there you have it. Manuscript found.